Hey guys, it's Moody here, and in this video we're going to be going over all the Mega Stones that you can get in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is all of them. There will be timestamps in the description if you want to just skip to a certain part, so this video is going to be pretty long, so we're going to get into it. The first Mega Stone that we get that I'm showcasing is Alakazam, and that can be received in Slateport City. Usually if you're coming from the beach side of it and going upwards, then you're at the bottom part of Slateport and you'll see the little sparkle or the dazzle, and that's where you get the Alakazam one. The next one that you get is the mystery gift from the Metagross, which you can easily get if you start up your game, and then I'm pretty sure there's a mystery gift option, and once you receive the shiny Beldum from mystery gift, it comes with the Metagross stone attached to it, so this one is really easy to get. The next one that you can get is the Metachemite, and this one you end up getting at Mount Pyre, and if you go all the way to the very top, it should be at the very top floor, and then you can just pick that up as you go along the game. The next one that you get is the Mega Stone for your starter, and that's given to you by Steven, and you should receive that after you go into Fortree City and go across the log bridge, and that's also where you get your scope. The next one we go into would be the rest of the Mega Stones. So you get your starter Mega Stone, and then you can buy the other two from a guy here on the stone guy on Route 114. And they're really cheap. The three, I actually go over all three of them just so you know them by name. But here you get the Sceptolite, and they're all really cheap, surprisingly, as opposed to X and Y. So you can also get both of them, and I think they're Fading Fire. There's one for, I think, the Tears, and then there's the third one that you get. But they're all available within the game. If you have, 1,500, which is really not a lot for a Mega Stone. And don't be fooled by the other ones. I'm pretty sure the other ones aren't really worth trying to get because they're all hard stones or something like that. But that's where you end up getting the Mega Stone for your Pokemon. Usually once your Pokemon evolves into its final stage, that's around the time where you would get it. And then the next one we're going to go into is slightly more complicated. The trek there was kind of annoying, but it's after you get to Sootopolis City, so it's a bit farther in the game, but you're going to also need to use the surf to get here, and you're going to end up surfing across Sootopolis. It's actually a bit of a surf and a bit of a journey, so just end up following along the video and you'll make the same confusing trek that I did trying to get it. So hopefully you can bear with me, but this one is also like in plain sight, so you don't need to do anything other than follow my avatar. And as I get confused, because I pretty much managed to run across the entire city looking for this, so you pretty much run up the steps and then you just run back down the steps. Well, it's not up there, but and running back down the steps, once again, you're going to have to surf once more. You don't even need to worry about waterfall. I'm pretty sure all you need is surf. And then you go into like another part of Sootopolis, and it's going to be kind of in plain sight. I think it's kind of in plain sight, but at the same time, you can miss it, but it's right over here. Kind of blocked by some trees, but you can find the Sableye stone right over here, and it's also in both versions of the game. You can get all the stones in both versions of the game. They're not version exclusive. So the next one we're going to go out and find is the Steelix one. This one you need a Mach Bike for, so you can end up going up the ramp over there. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to get across that ramp without the Mach Bike. And then you don't necessarily need Flash for this, as you can see perfectly well in the dark here. It's manageable. So you also need the Mach Bike for a couple other uphills and downhills here, but you can easily make it across and go through a couple ladders and go into the Granite Cave, and this one is at Dewford. It's a cave that you have at Dewford, so you can get this one early on as well. But most of the stones are going to come at the end of the game. Well, not at the end, but more so post-game. But this one is really easy. It's kind of in plain sight once you're in the cave, because all you see is sparkle. But that's where you get the Steelix stone. And then we're going to move on to the Mawile. And this one is in Vendendorf Town, and you just end up walking into this small kind of path. It's out of the way, but you kind of can't miss it if you're trying to explore the area. So then we're going to go into the Aggron Stone, and this is in Rusturf Town, now Rusturf Tunnel, and then this one ends up, you have to end up helping out these people, so you do need Rock Smash for this one, but they ask you to pretty much break the boulders, and then if you help them out and then you free the path up, then the guy ends up giving you an Aggronite. So that's how you get that one. So the next Mega Stone should be really easy because it's a part of the story. If you're playing through Ruby, you're going to get the Latios Stone, and if you're playing through Sapphire, you will get the Latias Stone, and those are just the differences between the versions, but you're still going to be able to get both of them within whatever version that you're playing with. They're going to just ask you to clear out your party if you need to, and then you'll receive the stone and the Latios together, so that's going to be really simple. The next stone is going to be the Lopunny Stone, and this one you can get in Mauville City. It's after you beat Watson. You can fly over to Mauville, and then you should see him next to a statue. Once you talk to him, he should give you access to the second floor, and it will be a key, and then you can just run up, and then you can take care of that. But you're also going to kind of have to run around to talk to some people up there. So, like I said, this is after you beat him. You can run up to the second floor and have access to that. So once you go there, you just run up to the elevator, and it's kind of in the upper portion of the city. Mauville gets kind of confusing, so just follow along. It's in the upper portion of the city, and then you run slightly to the right, and then there's an elevator there that will take you to the second floor. And once you're at the second floor, you're going to end up running to, we'll see, we're going to end up running to, just like I said, follow along, because this does get confusing, especially a bit with camera angles. You're going to run along this way. There should happen to be a conversation with a man in a suit and someone in an intercom, so they're going to end up talking to each other, and then he's just going to disappear, and he's going to end up talking to this guy, and he's going to disappear, and this part of the conversation is kind of relevant, so you can kind of skip over that if you really don't care, and then you're kind of left alone, and no one is nearby, so then all you need to do is, I was kind of confused after this, so I kind of just started running around, but what you can do now is you can end up running around, and you really just need to go back. There's going to be a room that you end up going to, and Watson should be in it, and then you can talk to Watson again. And that's when, after that, the other people are going to show up again. So that's what you're trying to look for. The other man in the suit should end up showing up again after you talk to Watson. Watson's just basically going to talk and kind of put you on a chore, but you really don't need to do that. All you need to do is kind of find Watson, go in here, he's going to do this, and then once you've taken care of this part of it, you can end up going back to the same place that you saw the suited man in, and I think the same way you might be able to go back onto like the first floor or something and come back and just kind of refresh the floor, if that makes sense, so you can see the guy again. So now he's going to give you a Lopunite, and that's how you get that. Try not to get too confused. I'm sorry if it does end up a bit confusing, but if you follow along as the video is, then you will definitely end up finding it. The next stone you get is the Mewtwo X Stone, and this is in Littleroot Town, and this one is so obvious because it's literally given to you, and this is after you beat the Elite Four, so this isn't in the beginning of the game. Like I said, a lot of the stones do come post game, but this one just gets handed to you, so there's really no way you can end up missing this, and she ends up talking to you for a bit, and then this part is irrelevant, so then you end up running around a bit in Littleroot Town, but it should be at the bottom left of Littleroot Town, I believe. I was kind of just running around searching for it, so it might get confusing, but all in all, you end up going to the bottom left of Littleroot Town, and you will see the little sparkle that is the Mega Stone. And then the next one that we end up going to is also really easy. It's after you beat the Pokemon League. You end up going to the Pokemon League and just fly on whatever and end up going there, and it will literally be in front of the Pokemon League. And it's just a sparkle there, so you can go and pick that up really easily, and it'll just be there. The next one we're going to go over is Abomasnow, and this one is on Route 123 at Berry Garden, so you can end up running all over here, and the Mega Stone should end up being right about there at Berry Garden. I'm pretty sure if you make your way around Berry Garden, you'll end up finding it, and that's the Abomasnow Stone. The next one we're going to go over is Absol. So this one is found in the Pokemon Safari Zone, and you're going to end up, you have to go into the Safari Zone, whatever, pay the fee, you have your thing, and then you just end up biking all the way over here through the grass, and you just end up going upwards. And it is somewhere along here. Remember, you need the acro bike here in order to be able to get to some of the Safari Zone places, so don't forget that. And if you don't know how to hop, by the way, it's the B button, and you can hop from rail to rail with the acro bike, but that's how you can get it here. Just don't forget to have the acro bike. And similarly, there's another path that you can end up taking, which for some reason I don't end up taking because I'm being silly, and it's on the top. And I'm being silly because I got the camera angle wrong, and that's really embarrassing. But yeah, it's literally right there, and you go and pick up the Absol Stone. The next one we're going to go over is the Aerodactylite, and this one can be found in Meteor Falls. Now, once you're in Meteor Falls, you're going to go up into the room that actually has the falls. This one might be slightly confusing because the falls are practically the color of the Aerodactyl Stone, or whatever the little sparkle you see Mega Stones have. And I just ended up talking to the lady because just in case she felt like giving me a stone. But yeah, you could miss it. So I was kind of looking around for it just in case I happened to miss it, because it is the same sparkle and color that the falls have. But basically it's down at the end of the falls, and you just don't run, because if you run you might actually miss it, because it really isn't as obvious as some of the other ones were. And it's right there in the corner. So, and then you can just easily grab that. The next one that we're going to do is Altaria. And Altaria is, first of all, going to require you to actually have your own Altaria in the party. So once you have an Altaria in your party, you can go to Lily Cove, and you just end up going to the guy over here in Lily Cove, and he'll end up giving you an Altaria. He'll always be standing outside of the house, and it'll end up giving it to you. The next one is Ampharos, and this one is in New Mauville, which is under the cycling road, and there's like a little building there that you can end up going into, and then you can end up exploring that. And so you end up just unlocking the door and going in. This one is going to be in another room in a corner, and you kind of just run around here. And it's right there, along with the Pokeball, just in case you collect everything in the game. There are a couple Pokeballs there that you can also grab. So the next one is Audino, and this one is at the Battle Resort, which is also post-game, and you end up looking for the Looker. And this guy is really annoying to deal with, I'm sorry, but you do end up going through a bunch of conversation with him. And he looks absolutely sick, and he claims he has a cold. So you go through some conversation with these two guys at the Battle Resort, and then you end up kind of having to follow them around, and they'll end up giving you the Mega Stone once you end up finding them again. So that's kind of annoying, but once you end up finding them at the Battle Resort, then they'll end up giving you the Mega Stone once you talk to them. And they're in this house right here, and then you just, well, they're not in that house right there, but I did run through a couple houses until I actually did find the right one, but it is this house, maybe, yeah, it's this house. You find them back at this house, and then once you just initiate conversation with them again, after they left, they'll end up giving you the Audino Stone, and that's how you get the Audino. The next one that we're going to go over is Bayonet, and this one is at Mount Pyre. And you have visited here once before, but you can go up onto Mount Pyre again, and this one is going to end up being a little like detour over there, and then you end up seeing Phoebe over there as she's talking. This one is post after you beat the Pokemon League as well, like most of them are. So if you're going here and you don't manage to find it, it's because you haven't beaten the Pokemon League yet. And that's the case for all of these stones. If you go there and they're not in the areas that I'm showing you they're in, it's because you haven't beaten the Pokemon League, or you haven't beaten the Delta episode, which is also the situation. So if you've beaten both the League and the Delta episode, then there will definitely be the stone where I'm showing you they are. So you're going to keep exploring Mount Pyre over here, and it'll be right here in this corner. So I forgot if this was post-game or not, but if you actually don't end up seeing it, it's because you haven't been in the post-game yet. The next one we're going to find is the Beedrill one, and this is at Sea Mauville, which is otherwise known as the Abandoned Ship. And this one is a series of puzzles that you have to go through. Just go to the abandoned ship and then end up finding this room. It is a series of puzzles and people that you have to talk to get to it, but eventually it will lead you to the Beedrillite, which you can just pick up. And finally, you've claimed your prize for all the hard work you had to go through in that scenario. The next one we're going to go through is the Blastoise site, and this one is on the SS Tidal, and it's literally right there with the sparkle at the front of the ship. So if you're on the SS Tidal and you go to the top of the ship, you'll end up finding it there in that corner. So there's the Blastoise site for you. The next stone that you're going to end up getting is either the Camerupt one or the Sharpedo one, depending on the version that you're playing. If you're going to be playing the Ruby version, you'll get the Camerupt one, and if you're playing the Aqua version, you'll get the Sharpedo, and you can still manage to get both stones regardless of the version that you're playing, but this is just the difference between versions, and it's a part of the game. So if you're playing through the game, you'll end up finding it that way. And the next one that we're going to end up finding is the Charizard X Stone, which is on the Fiery Path, and you just end up walking through the Fiery Path, and it's in one of the areas. It's kind of secluded, but you can just end up finding it there. So that's where you get the Charizard X one. The next stone we're going to end up finding is the Charizard Y Stone, and this one is in the Scorched Slab, which is the area that is right under the bridge when you met Steven. This one is also dimly lit, but it really doesn't matter because you can end up seeing it just as well anyway. Although I did kind of end up walking into a couple of Pokeballs and things, but you also need Surf to be able to get here. So make sure that you have that, and you end up finding it in one of the corners in the Scorched Slab. So just if you can't find it or if you're unsure, then just keep walking around. And like I said also, if for some reason you're here and you can't find it in the place that I'm finding it, then beat the game and you'll end up getting it there. But here you can end up talking to Flannery, and she ends up giving you the stone, I believe, or not, or she just warns you. I'm not entirely sure, but you end up talking to her, and then you can go down. You go down farther into the cave, but if this is also difficult for you to navigate, then you can also use Flash, but it's fairly easy enough to see, but you just really need to run around if you're not sure. It's definitely down here in one of the areas, so you can just end up following the areas that I'm going to. And as always, use a Repel if you really don't want to encounter a lot of Zubats, but there's the Charizard Y Stone, and you'll end up getting it right over there. The next stone that you end up finding is the Gallade Stone, and this one is from Professor Cosmo in Fall Arbor Town, and this one is past the Delta episode, so if you beat the Elite Four and then you play through the Delta episode, then only after that can you talk to him to get the Gallade Stone. So it's a while and you have to complete the game, but it's post-game just in case you were confused on where to get it. The next stone that you can end up finding is in Vendenturf Town, and this one is if you end up talking to Wanda, she'll just end up giving it to you, and there I go into the wrong house. Clearly not the house with Wanda, but it's rather the house to the left that has Wanda in it, and if you end up walking into it and just talking to her, she'll just end up giving you the stone just like that. So most of these stones actually just require you talking to the people in order to give them to you, and once again, if you have not completed the entire game and these people don't end up giving it to you or they don't show up there, then just complete the game and they definitely will be there. The next stone that we're going to get is the Gengar Stone, and this one is at the Battle Resort, which is also post-game, so you end up walking into this shack right here. Now the shack also has a bunch of freebies for you to take, such as calcium, HP up, iron, which are also pretty useful in the game, so they're worth picking up at least. But let's say you just ran into this shack head first without actually looking around, you probably would have missed the Mega Stone standing there in the corner because the guy is completely blocking it. So just end up picking up your freebies, and then you can claim the Mega Stone, or just run in, claim the Mega Stone, and you're good. But just don't run past it because it can actually be easily missed because his head is completely blocking the stone. And that's where you end up getting the Gengar, right? The next stone that we're going to end up getting is the Glalie Stone, and this one can be gotten in 2 ways. One of the ways is if you played through the demo of Ruby and Sapphire, you can end up transferring your Glalie Stone, and the second one is if you go into the basement of Shoal Cave. At the bottom, you'll end up finding the Glalie Stone right over there. It's kind of hard to miss because, well, it's hard to miss, but at the same time, just follow the guide, you'll end up finding it. The next one that we go through is the Gyarados Stone, and this one is on Route 123 in the mouth of a Poochyena, so just end up exploring Route 123, and then you'll end up seeing that there's Poochyena over there in the corner, and if you end up talking to them or just clicking them, they'll end up giving you a little Megastone. So that's an interesting way of getting a Megastone, but you get the Gyarados right there. It's a pretty important one because it's a good stone. The next stone that you end up getting is the Heracross Stone. This one can be found on Route 127. Obviously, you need Surf to get it, and it's right over there in the corner, just glistening, and there's not much else you could say other than surf to the route and end up getting the stone. The next one we're going to do is Houndoom, and this one is in Laveridge Town. So you just walk around Laveridge Town, and it's in the corner over there with all the old people. So have fun with that stone. It's in such an open location, you really should not miss it. The next stone that we're going to get is the Kangaskhan Stone, and this one can be found in Pacifilog Town, right behind the Pokemon Center. You can either just surf or just walk behind it, but it's in an open space to where you should still be able to get it and pick it up right next to the Pokemon Center. The next Megastone we're going to get is the Latias or Latios Stone. This one is dependent on your version, but if you're running Ruby, you will be getting the Latias, and if you're running Sapphire, you will be getting the Latios. Basically, the alternate to the Latios or Latias that you got in the previous part of the game. And this one is in Littleroot Town. You will talk to your mom after the Delta episode, and she'll end up giving you the Latias or Latios Stone. It's really simple. You just talk to her, and she gives it to you post-game. The next stone that we're going to be doing is the Manectric one, and this is on Route 110, which is Cycling Road. You need to have a bike from Mauville to do this, obviously, and go on Cycling Road, but it's right there in front of this girl, and she's going to end up giving it to you. Well, she's not going to end up giving it to you, but she's going to challenge you, and you're going to have to beat her before you get it, so hopefully you beat her. So have fun with that one. The next stone we're going to get is the Intriguing Stone, and this is required for you to get Mega Pidgeot. You end up going to Verdant Turf Town and talking to this little girl. Then you run over to the sign of Verdant Turf Town, and once you click on the sign, you should see a little Shroomish pop out from behind it. And once the Shroomish pops out, the girl will end up bringing you to her, and she ends up talking to you for a bit, and then she just hands you the Intriguing Stone. So first you need to get this stone before talking to Mr. Stone. Then you can head over to Restboro City and walk over to Mr. Stone, and Mr. Stone will end up giving you the Pidgeot Stone, and he can be found within the headquarters over here. And you just end up going there and going to the floor that you need to, and he'll be over there. The next stone we'll be finding is the Pinsir Stone, and this requires you to have Surf and Dive on your team. So you're going to surf over to Route 124 and find a square spot to dive in. Once you dive in the spot, you just head underwater, and then you'll see another spot where you can come up from the water, and this will bring you into another part of the ocean, a part that you won't be able to explore unless you have dive. And once it brings you back up, you should go upwards, and you'll see a little island with a Pokeball, and you'll be able to find the Pinsirite Stone over here. The next stone we're going to find is the Salamence Stone. I'm sure a lot of people like this stone, so we're going to end up going to Meteor Falls. We're going to talk to her, and she's going to end up giving you a bunch of dialogue you probably don't care about, but you'll also be able to get the Salamencite from Zinnia, and this is also post-game, so you should be able to beat the game and then get the stone. The next stone we're going to end up finding is the Scissorite stone, and this one is in Petalburg Woods. You have to be able to cut through the tree over here and explore the woods, so make sure you have a cutter on your team and then end up walking into the woods, and you should end up finding the stone over here in the eastern part of the woods. The next stone we'll be getting is the Sharpedo stone or the Camerupt stone, depending on your version, and you'll be able to talk to the Battle Resort, and it depends on whichever version you have. Team Magma or Team Aqua at the Battle Resort will be able to give you either one of the stones. The next one we're going to find is Slowbro, and this one is located in Shoal Cave. You need to have 4 shoal salts and 4 shoal shells. Wow, I can't pronounce that. So we're going to end up getting all the items, and then you end up talking to this dude, and then he ends up giving you a stone. So there's your Slowbro stone. Next, we're going to be finding the Tyranitar stone, and this one can be found on the Jagged Pass, which you could easily take a cable car up to. And for this one, make sure that you end up carrying an acro bike with you because it is necessary. Once you reach the Jagged Pass, you just end up exiting it, and make sure you just get on your bike because it is going to be necessary in order to get to the part of the Jagged Pass, or Jagged Pass / Mount Chimney. The top of there you end up going to, and then just grab your bike because you are going to need it, and slowly make your way down the Jagged Pass. Don't immediately just jump down all of the ledges because otherwise you're going to end up taking like the wrong route to the place that you're supposed to go to. Just slowly try and use the acro bike to get down into the section, which is like the rightmost part of the section which you need to go to try and get the stone, and then obviously just press a button to hop, which is the B button, in case you need to just get down the little stones with your bike. And you'll be able to make it to the bottom of the Jagged Pass in order to get the stone, which is right over there. So like I said, if you need to switch your bikes, just go to Mauville City, and then the guy will switch up your acro for your Mach, or your Mach for your acro. But in this case, you need to have the acro bike on you in order to get the Tyranitar. Next, we'll be finding Venusaur, and this one is on Route 119. So you end up exploring Route 119, and you'll find it within a patch, like an empty patch of grass, and there's the Venusaur. Now the Lucario one is a bit annoying because you need to beat all the contests on Master, and then you need to beat Lizia, and she'll end up giving you the stone. So you need to get through all the ranks, and that means Cool, Beauty, Toughness, and every single Master rank in order to be able to battle her, and then she ends up giving you the Lucario stone. And this last one is the Garchomp Stone. And the Garchomp Stone is kind of really tedious to get to. You need to reach Platinum rank in secret bases, and that means that you end up talking to the guy in Fortree City, and he will end up assigning you a booklet that kind of determines your rank and keeps track of it. And from then on, you have to try and get more people in your secret bases, try and rack up 1,000 flags to get to the Platinum rank, and then you'll get the Garchomp Light. Because this is so tedious, I haven't actually physically received it, but because it is in the guidebook and it's official, then that is how you end up getting the Garchomp Stone. So thank you all for watching, and if this was helpful and useful to you, then I'd really appreciate a like. So good luck getting all the Mega Stones, and thanks for watching.